its report. The committee was of the considered view that the observations and recommendations of the Auditor General fairly represented the financial transactions that took place in the technical universities in the 2022 financial year. The committee therefore recommends to the House to adopt its report. And on the report of the Auditor General on the public accounts of Ghana for technical universities for the year ended 31st December 2022, in accordance with Order 215 of the Standing Orders of the House. Mr. Speaker, respectfully submitted.
Very well. Honorable Jekum, Fantiakwa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, even though I don't have a copy of the report, I'm privy to it. So I rise to second the motion of the accounts of the Auditor General on the public accounts of Ghana Technical University for the year ended 31st December 2022. I so move. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Honorable members, the motion has been moved and has been seconded. It is before the House for consideration. Yes. Honorable member for Elmina, Commender.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. But it's Commender Edina Iguafo Abrem. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The problem is those people who have committed these irregularities sometimes are protected by the same politicians who are now lamenting. A minister comes with an agency, and the minister wants to protect that appointee. Some of them are political appointees, some may not be. But we, the politicians, we need to stop protecting these people when they come to Public Accounts Committee. I would advise anybody who becomes a minister, when these technical people come, stay on the side and let them answer the questions. Don't try to protect anybody. Then we lament on it. Now my appeal to the Attorney General. There are so many recommendations sent to the Attorney General for prosecution. He hasn't done it. I don't know what the Attorney General is waiting for. Now, if we don't prosecute these people, when are they going to stop? This blame game has to stop. Politicians, stop protecting those who have committed these crimes. Look, what goes around comes around. Paying for stuff for no work done. Mr. Speaker, we need to look at ourselves in the mirror. There's nobody to blame but ourselves. Let's hold these people accountable. Let's hold them accountable. And rather stop calling ourselves names. If you don't do your work well as a minister, don't come and protect these people. As for the Attorney General, the least said about him, the better. But I hope and pray that with this new administration coming, we'll do a better job prosecuting those people who have committed these crimes. I think we need to serve notice to those people who are committing all these crimes. There's a new sheriff in town. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, let me give the opportunity to Honorable Techi Manson Kwanta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. It is very important for members of this House to consider the professionality of auditing and the aspect of investigation. If you look at the reports, you will see at some session, for example, the tertiary report, you have the purpose of audit. With your permit, Mr. Speaker, I may read this so that it will guide us as to how we comment on some of these issues. The audit was undertaken in accordance with Article 187 of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, which mandates the Auditor General to audit the accounts of all public offices and report to Parliament. The purpose of the audit was to enable the auditor to express an opinion on the level of compliance of the operations and activities of the technical university as expressed in their financial statement for the year ended, so forth. Mr. Speaker, auditing is about expressing opinion by looking at internal controls of the institution, by looking at the regulation governing the body, by looking at the laws and other things that ensure that the institution is operating within law and within the limits of its controls. Any irregularity means that some laws or regulations were not complied with. It may not involve necessarily the movement of funds. It may be that because some omissions were made in terms of the law. Therefore, the report will capture it and the auditor may express his opinion. On that basis, you may be very careful to conclude that there is a fraud or there is a criminal action. When there is that opinion expressed, it will be the Auditor General who may state that for this gross misconduct, it may call for investigation. So auditing is separate from investigation. When the auditor has established that in prima facie case, there is a connotation of fraud, then it calls for investigation. It is upon the investigation that will establish either fraud has been committed or crime has been committed. So on this basis, the Auditor General report that we are looking at should not construe that crime or fraud has been committed, but rather expression of opinion. If the House believes that there is anything like fraud or criminal act conducted somewhere, we should investigate the matter to establish that one. So I may want to express my opinion to the House and the public that the work of the Auditor General and its recommendation are expression of opinion. It doesn't conclude on criminality or fraud unless it's called for that act of investigation to establish the fraud and the criminal act so that we can pursue from there. On that note, Mr. Speaker, thank you. Let us go by this and ensure that professionalism is being upheld in this House and elsewhere. Thank you very much.
Honorable members, why is it that no, Honorable Virginia, I haven't called you.
Mr. Speaker, I just want to just permit me a minute. I think that when we make such comments, we are in a way encouraging the public and civil servants to continue to misbehave. In fact, if you read the report, we have realized or we captured in the report that the issues that have been resolved, if it is resolved at the committee level, that ends the matter. There are unresolved portions which must be dealt with. So, as he said, nobody is taking the Auditor General report as a final conclusion. It comes to Parliament. The committee called the officers involved. Then, find out from them action they have taken. If the issue is resolved, we end it there. If the issue is not resolved, we bring it here with a recommendation.
That is what we are doing here. So the point he is raising cannot be accommodated at this time because the resolved ones, we are not talking about that one. The unresolved ones are the ones that are outstanding. And in fact, we have made several recommendations for the Attorney General to prosecute the people, and that if the people go and clear themselves at the court, that ends it. So nobody is taking cane to just go and lash anybody based on the report of the Auditor General. There are processes that we are being followed. So my colleague, I don't think that I think that what you said is not the proper thing to do at this time. Thank you.
Honorable, I'll come to you. I just listened to Honorable Techi. I have to go here. He was just giving, no, Avaji is the chairman. He just wanted to clear it. So let me give. Yes, Honorable Boriban Boy.
Mr. Speaker, I'm very grateful for this opportunity to contribute to this report. But before I continue, let me add my voice to the correction that has been made by the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee. I think that my colleague on the other side didn't get things right. The mandate of the Public Accounts Committee is clearly stated. Ours is to look at the reports and make appropriate recommendations in the reports to be submitted to this House for us to debate and then agree on the way forward. I think what I want to say is that we have many reports that we have made recommendations, and in some cases we expect that some prosecution will be done. And as I speak to you, nothing is being done about that. And that for me is the concern that this House should find a way of ensuring that recommendations that we make here don't just go to rest on the shelves, but rather we are able to push them through so that people who are found wanting will be prosecuted to ensure that the irregularities that we see on annual basis are reduced. Mr. Speaker, making reference to the particular report that we are discussing, with specific reference to Koforidua Technical University, it is not only the university that is found fault for this particular problem. Many universities have lands, and these lands are not registered. And so you have a situation where individuals encroach on these lands, and then the university land is taken over by individuals. Government wants to expand the university, and there's no land for them to build infrastructure on. And so I want to suggest that universities and other government institutions that have land, it should be a policy to ensure that all these lands are registered and that they have land titles. If not, what is going on is scary. It's not only limited to only this university, but many, many other government institutions that do not have certificate to cover their lands, those lands are being encroached upon. And I think that is one of the issues that comes up regularly in our discussion. The other issue that I want to talk about is the fact that some institutions fail to register their vehicles. A very common exercise where you're supposed to register your vehicles in accordance with government policy, and you have some institutions, in my own opinion, deliberately ignoring this policy in order that they are able to use their vehicles for their private activities. We all know that government vehicles are registered with some specific colors, green colors, numbers. Now, if you don't register it with the numbers and you take it for funerals and other things and weekends, how are we going to determine that this vehicle is a government vehicle? And so policymakers and governments, we should ensure that all government vehicles are registered appropriately. If not, we will continue to see an abuse of the use of government assets. Now, another very important issue that came up is abandoned projects. This cuts across. Get funds, when we met with them, we were told that those projects, some even dated 2017. And that for me was not an excuse. If you have a project that you inherited from a previous government, the onus is on you to ensure that that project is completed before you continue with another project. But you leave those ones, and then you go ahead to come up with new projects. Even those ones, you are not able to complete them. And once you delay it, the repercussion is that there will be an added cost, and it becomes difficult for government to now get this added cost to be able to complete the project. The usage of the project becomes a problem, and all of that. And so the good news is that the president-elect in his manifesto has promised that abandoned projects will be completed. And that for me is something that we should applaud him for and ensure that these promises that he has made, we all collaborate and help him to do it. There shouldn't be a situation where we are asking for details or information on projects that have been abandoned, and it will be difficult to get those information. I think that those are issues that we should look at, and the president-elect is in the mood to ensure that projects that are abandoned are completed. And if he's to do that, I know Ghanaians will be happy with him. They know his worth, and they know that he's capable of walking his talk. On this note, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Yes. Honorable Member for Dominic-Kwabena.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I wish to comment on the statement on the report that is ably laid by the chairman relating to technical universities. Mr. Speaker, respectfully, I want to refer you to page 6 of the report. Item II, and it reads assets without ownership of documents. And I want to take that together with another item that was identified as an irregularity and by the Auditor General that was considered by the Public Accounts Committee, which is on page 22 of the report. Page 22 of the report, and the heading is University Lands with no title certificates. Mr. Speaker, I want to state that this is a very serious issue that we ought to look at as a country. If we need to establish or create legal departments in these universities to take care of that, it is very important. You would be amazed that many of our schools at all levels are sited on properties or lands that has no proper documentation. And I must state on authority again and state on record that this keeps reoccurring in the Auditor General's report as an irregularity, dating from years back, since at least I entered Parliament in 2013. So what are we doing? In these universities, in these schools, are we leaving the registration of these documents and registration of these lands to the school heads, or we'll just sit on concern? A lot of our schools are on lands that have been encroached upon. And they cannot take legal action, mainly because they don't even have title to the land, for starters, to even have locus in any court to challenge whoever is encroaching on these lands. And these are lands for public purpose, lands for schools, for universities, for our young ones and our little ones that are coming up. And I think that if you look on page 8, the value that is, no, on page 22, Mr. Speaker, the value that is put on these lands, it's huge. The value, and we know that property appreciates over the years. And so the more acreage you have, the more land size you have, every year you have an accrual on it. So if we don't have title, we don't take the pain to register these lands, when there's need for expansion, then the issue rises again. We need land, we need land. But we go to our traditional leaders, our chiefs and all that, and actually beg for these lands. And most of the times, they give it out willingly. So I think that as a country, moving forward, the civil servants that are working in these institutions, the public servants that are working in these institutions, if there's a need to engage more lawyers to carry out that duty for them, it will be very useful to us as a country moving forward. So, Mr. Speaker, these are the two observations that I wanted to comment on this report, which has to do with protecting what is due us so that we can progress in terms of developmental projects in the area of education. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Well. The last one, let me give it to Honorable Comfort, do you?
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I'm on my feet to react to Honorable Techi Manson Kwanta MP.
But that one has already been reacted to.
Mr. Speaker, nobody should speak big English.
Honorable Doyo,
when it comes to corruption.
Honorable Doyo, I think what he said was a general understanding of audit.
So what I'm saying is about $11 million paid to a work not done. Now, nobody should speak big English to do a cover-up. We don't want to hear that. Ghanaians should know $11 million have been paid, 11 million plus have been paid to a contractor. And for work not done. Not done.
Honorable Comfort, hold on.
So this
Honorable Comfort, do you?
That has been made.
Honorable
there should be
Comfort,
no
do
big
you?
English to do a cover-up. So they should allow the process to work. We should take them on. That's all.
Mr. Speaker, I think we should discourage leaders from taking the house back. A decision has been taken on that matter already. What is being discussed now has nothing to do with that issue. It's either an opportunity to be heard or deliberately pushing the house back. Mr. Speaker, I urge you to rule him out of order and have all those comments taken off the record. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Doyo, with respect to $11.9 million, that report has already been adopted. With respect to Honorable Techi's comment, I think it was a general comment he made, but the chairman of the committee has addressed it. So please, let's understand ourselves and move on with that. So,
I'm not making a comment about this, Mr. Speaker. I'm just timing how long we took to do this. Mr. Speaker, you initially said depending on the interest you will allow.
So this one I had the interest, so yes, that's why I allow some.
If this becomes the standard, Mr. Speaker, we haven't even done half of this. We may be here beyond 6 o'clock.
Very well. Very well. So, honorable members, at the conclusion of the debate, motion listed 22 in today's order paper, the question is all those in favor of the motion being adopted, say aye. Are we hungry or angry? All those in favor of the motion say aye. All those against say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The motion listed 22 in today's order paper is hereby adopted. Yes, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm taking motion number 23. Mr. Speaker, I rise that this Honorable House adopt the report of the Public Accounts Committee on the report of the Auditor General on the management and utilization of the District Assembly's Common Fund and other statutory funds for the year ended 31st December 2022. Mr. Speaker, I present your committee's reports. Mr. Speaker, the total infraction or irregularities reported by the Auditor General amounted to 53.5 million Ghana cedis. At the time of the committee's meeting, 22.5 million Ghana cedis had been resolved, leaving an outstanding amount of 31 million Ghana cedis unresolved. The committee made a number of observations and recommendations. The first one is that overutilization of the common fund on recurrent expenditure. Mr. Speaker, the committee noted that most of the entities or the assemblies, especially in this report, 21 of them, exceeded their threshold for administrative expenditure and misapplied a total amount of 7.09 million Ghana cedis of the DACF fund on payments of recurrent expenditure, contrary to Part 1 of the 2019 guideline for the utilization of the DACF. Mr. Speaker, at the time of the public sitting, it was revealed that a total amount of 3 million had been refunded by 13 assemblies, leaving a balance of 4 million in the name of 15 assemblies. And these have been captured in a report. The committee noted that the overutilization of the DACF is as a result of the failure of the assemblies to generate sufficient revenue to meet their recurrent expenditure. Most of the assemblies blamed the inability to generate sufficient revenue to refund the previous overutilization on the government directive to suspend the collection of property rates over the period under consideration. The committee noted that the directive has adversely affected revenue mobilization in the assemblies. Mr. Speaker, the committee further noted that government has since reversed the directive. In view of the committee, in view of this, the committee recommends that total amount of 81 million being overutilized DACF should be refunded by the 15 assemblies involved. In fact, 8.1 million. Mr. Speaker, recommendation. To forestall the recurrence of this, the committee recommends that the Ministry of Finance should put a quota caveat on the GiveMe's platform to prevent the excess spending of the common fund on recurrent expenditure. Mr. Speaker, the next one is uncompleted projects. Mr. Speaker, a number of projects are outstanding which have not been completed, yet the assemblies keep on awarding new projects. A number of them have also been completed but are not being put to use. Conclusion. The committee's deliberations reveal weaknesses in the internal control system and blatant disregard to Public Financial Management Acts, Public Financial Management Regulation, as well as procurement laws, among others. The committee therefore recommends to all the MMDAs to uphold and act in accordance with the Public Financial Management Regulations, as well as the procurement law of the Republic of Ghana. The committee was of the considered view that the observations and recommendations of the Auditor General fairly represent the financial transactions that took place in the Metropolitan, Municipal, and District Assemblies in the year 2022, and therefore recommend that the House adopt the reports of the committee on the report of the Auditor General on the management and utilization of the District Assembly Common Fund for the year ended 31st December 2022, in accordance with Order 2151 of the Standing Orders of the House. Mr. Speaker, respectfully submitted.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Yes, Honorable Yekum.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion that this House adopt the report of the Auditor General on the accounts of public accounts on the utilization of this Assembly Common Fund and other statutory funds for the year ended December 2022. Mr. Speaker, I'll make a few comments on the report. Mr. Speaker, one area of concern is the situation where assemblies complete most of their projects, but for petty things like electricity connection, water, and sometimes even security, they are not able to enter and utilize these projects. The Speaker, 33 assemblies had completed their projects for a total amount of 7.1 million at the time of the Auditor General visited them. And these projects have not been connected to electricity, water, and other petty things. We recommend that assemblies budget properly in their projects so that these matters don't delay the use of completed projects to the detriment of the communities that need them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Honorable members, the motion listed 23 has been moved and seconded. It is before the House for consideration. It appears we are all in agreement of the motion. I'll go ahead and put the question. And the question is, all those in favor that motion listed 23 be adopted, say aye. All those against say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The motion listed 23 is hereby adopted. Honorable Chairman, can I take your last report? Because I was made,
yes, Mr. Speaker, for the day.
I was made to understand that you were going to take 4.
Yeah, this is the last one for the day.
Very well. So let's hear you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is motion number 24. So, Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that this Honorable House adopt the report of the Auditor General, report of the Public Accounts Committee on the report of the Auditor General on the accounts of the district assemblies for the IGF for the year ended 31st December 2022. So, Speaker, this is the IGF report of the assembly. So, Speaker, the Auditor General's report on the financial year ended 31st December 2022, which covered 261 MMDAs, found that out of a total of 261 assemblies, including the newly added Guan districts, 2 assemblies delayed in the submission of their financial statement by the statutory deadline of 28 February 2023. These defaulting assemblies are Share Osudoku in the Greater Accra region and Central Tong in the Volta region. The Auditor General was guided by the International Standard of Auditing, the International Standard of Supreme Audit Institution, and Section 13 of the Audit Service Act to make his recommendations. Auditor General observed various deficiencies and laxities in the undertaking and admission of the assemblies. The report further exposed prevalent non-compliance with the relevant frameworks, laws, regulations, as well as lapses in respect of management and monitoring processes. Mr. Speaker, the total value of irregularities amounted to 19.9 million Ghana cedis. And now this represented an increase of 49.2% of the 2021 figure of 13.3 million. Now, the irregularities covered cash irregularities, payroll, assets and stores management, statutory tax and deductions irregularities. And those are the areas covered by the irregularities. The status of implementation of the Auditor General report and recommendations are captured in the reports. So I'll go to the conclusion. Mr. Speaker, the committee, having carefully reviewed the report of the Auditor General and held public hearings with the management of the various assemblies, noted laxity and weak internal control systems in administration of the assemblies. These lapses have resulted in the recurrent breaches of the financial management rules and regulations. The committee hereby recommends that to the House to adopt its report. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Yekum.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second motion numbered 24 on today's order paper. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well, honorable members, the motion has been seconded. The document is now before the House for consideration. Yes, honorable member for Ho West.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me also add my voice to the motion and contribute accordingly. Mr. Speaker, your committee's report, page 3, 2 of our district assemblies, that's the Shai Osudoku in the Greater Accra region and Central Tong, have been cited as defaulting assemblies who were given a deadline, but they have defaulted. And as at the time that I'm sure the committee met, they have still not redeemed their name. Mr. Speaker, we must place this on record that district assemblies that have defaulted in redeeming their name or whatever that has been asked to do and they've not done it, we should name and shame them, more especially the heads of those institutions, the DCs and the Director of Finance and DCDs. They should be named and shamed. Not only name and shame, but they should also face the laws of the land. Since we have financial irregularities in those institutions and they have refused to redeem their name, they have to face the full rigors of the law. Mr. Speaker, having said that, I've also noticed that on page 11, item 9.4, failure to serve bond term after study leave. Mr. Speaker, an amount of 680,142 cedis has been identified as people who took facilities, who were given study leaves, but they refused to return and pay those amounts. And the recommendation from this, from the Auditor General to the head of civil service was that they should recover the total salary and scholarship grant from them. Mr. Speaker, I don't think that has been done. And the names of the people has been also mentioned on page 11 and page 12. Mr. Speaker, this has been ongoing over the years. Students or workers take facilities, they apply for study leave, they are given study leave, and as soon as they get an opportunity to go through schools and then finish, they decide to look for a greener pasture. They decide to go to other institutions for a better condition. And then forgetting that the taxpayers' money was used in taking care of them. Mr. Speaker, we should not only mention their names by citing them, but they should be sent for prosecution. I still want to maintain the fact that if you go against the law must come after you. If you are supposed to pay back or at least serve a bond and you've not done that, we must use the law to get to them. Mr. Speaker, having said that, I support that this report be adopted. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable Member for Futu and Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I humbly seek your leave to interrupt the proceedings and proceed again with your leave under Order 93 of the rules of this House to make all in an important point for our consideration as a House. Mr. Speaker, it has come to my attention through a press statement signed by an MP-elect and a known political figure, Honorable Mr. Felix Kwachio-Fosu, and this is what he says: preparatory team towards President-elect anti-corruption drive. And this statement lists the following members, one of whom is a member of parliament: Honorable Samuel Okujeto Ablako as chairman, Honorable Daniel Domelovo, former Auditor General, COP retired Nathaniel Kofi Boache, Mr. Martin Kpebu, private legal practitioner, Mr. Raymond Archer, investigative journalist. And the mandate given, as per what the Mr. Kwachio-Fosu is saying, is that these individuals are supposed to gather information on supposed suspected acts of corruption. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to this, there is lawlessness taking place in our country. People are entering homes and harassing people. Mr. Speaker, what happened on the 7th of December was not a coup d'etat. It wasn't a revolution.
Honorable Leader.
Mr. Speaker, let me finish. I've sought your leave. Mr. Speaker, I've sought your leave. It was an election that you have won. The lawlessness must cease. No,
Leader,
let me finish.
I'm going to give you the opportunity.
Very well.
But
Mr.
let
Speaker,
me finish
very
with the
well.
motion. There's a motion.
Very well.
There's
This
a
is
motion.
a country of law. We will not
Leader.
allow and entertain this.
Leader,
Very
there
well,
is
Mr.
a motion on the floor. Let me finish with the motion.
Very well, Mr. Speaker.
Then you can come
Very
by order
well.
93, please.
Very well. I agree. No problem.
I thought you were going to contribute to the motion.
No.
That
I
is
said
why.
I'm seeking your leave.
Then you
proceedings.
let's finish.
Yeah.
Leader.
Mr.
Leader,
Speaker.
kindly allow me
Very well.
to
Mr.
finish
Speaker,
with the motion.
Mr. Speaker, I
then
agree.
I'll give you the
Mr.
opportunity.
Speaker, I agree. We will hold your feet to the fire. We will not allow lawlessness.
Honorable
Mr.
Leader.
Speaker, that is so. It's okay.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker,
Honorable members.
Mr. Speaker, the only lawlessness in this House currently is when the leader of the House, who was not in the chamber most of the day, enters the chamber, grabs the mic, and starts speaking about something which is not on the floor. In fact, you were dealing with emotion. The only lawlessness and witness right now is you, the leader, jumping to the House when you were not here for the rest of the day to actually spring an irrelevant issue here. Mr. Speaker, I direct you to stop this lawlessness by the leader opposite. This lawlessness must not be tolerated.
Honorable Leader, I think I admitted him because I thought he was going to contribute into the motion. But now that we realize he was doing something else, we have stopped. So please, the motion is before us. We will continue with the motion. Honorable members, motion 24. Honorable, are you going to contribute to the motion?
Mr. Speaker, he said certain things and he must be
Honorable
made to
Mahama,
withdraw.
we will probably come to that.
No, he must be made to withdraw, Mr. Speaker, because what he has said has become part of the records of this House. Mr. Speaker, these are very serious matters. Please, Mr. Speaker, let him withdraw what he has said. Since we all agree that what he said
Leader,
has nothing to do with
Leader,
the matter
I'll give you the
that was before
opportunity.
you.
So
Please
table
withdraw.
records.
Withdraw.
Records.
No, Mr. Speaker.
I'll give you the opportunity.
Mr. Speaker,
Leader.
he has to withdraw what he has said. Mr. Speaker, you can strike out from the records what he has said.
Leader,
you don't need.
I'll give you the opportunity to tell us whatever you feel.
Mr. Speaker,
Leader,
he has to withdraw.
Leader, allow me.
He has to withdraw.
Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I'm saying that he has to withdraw.
Leader, withdrawing and giving you the opportunity to tell us same opinion is so please table.
Mr. Speaker, when I rose, I said I am seeking your leave to interrupt proceedings to come under Order 93. The leave was granted. I have made my point. You have said that notwithstanding, I should wait when it is done. Mr. Speaker, so that rests the matter.
Well. So, Honorable Ayaga, I think I granted the leave. So we will come back to it. For now, let's continue with the motion. And when we are finished with the motion, probably we can deal with whatever he said. Please. That is my directive. So let's continue with the motion. Yes. Honorable members. Yes. Honorable member for K2 South.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm going to ask your education on what I'm going to say, and then you may please give me a response. It is to ask, as a member of the committee, the Public Accounts Committee, I see that at the sitting of the committee, the Auditor General's representatives sit with us, and then individuals who have been cited are called to respond to issues. When that is done, and the committee has presented its report as has been done today, I want to know whether the Clerk of Parliament is not supposed to follow up on the recommendations to the institutions that supervises this. And if it is so, has it ever been done, and what were the responses? Because really, from all that has gone on today, on the motion that have been tabled, the reference has been made that this is a recurring thing. And so if it's recurring and we're not seeing any progress and redress and or repercussions to bad behavior and the seeming corruption that has been captured in their reports, why would we expect that there will be a different dance to this same music that is being played, Mr. Speaker? I need your guidance and your education on this. Thank you.
Very well. Honorable Jifa, I think whatever is transpiring here is a judicial notice to the Attorney General's Department. I think whatever we are recommending here, they should pick it up and look at the criminal content in it and take it up. I think as to why the clerk is officially not writing to the Attorney General to pick the prosecutory so, like I'm saying, whatever is done here is a judicial notice, and I believe the clerk always also forward their recommendations to the Attorney General's Department. So it is up to the Attorney General's Department to pick it up and do what is necessary for the country. I don't know whether I've answered you, but I think that is it.
I can only appreciate the comments that you have made on it, but I'm sure that it gives room for us to take a good look at what the committee is supposed to do and the effects thereof. But I thank you very much for your comments, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. So, honorable members, at the conclusion of the debate on motion listed 24, the question is, all those in favor that the motion is adopted, say aye. All those against, say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The motion is hereby adopted. Yes, leadership.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the adjournment of the House.
You move
for the adjournment of the House.
Yes. Honorable members, there is a motion to adjourn the House. Minority leadership.
Motion for adjournment. Thank you.
Well. So, honorable members, before we finally adjourn, I think tomorrow, per the agreement of leadership, tomorrow the House
Madam Speaker, let me say this for the record. We are sure that the minister responsible for the EPA bill was coming in with 2 amendments, so we could take that today. I thought it was important that before you adjourn the House, we know exactly what happened to that information before we leave.
Yes, leader.
Mr. Speaker, I'm reliably informed that some minority members had raised some serious matters, and as a result, the minister would want to do some further consultation. 2, the minister, I'm told, that the minority members, I don't mean minority MPs, the members of the transitional team on the NDC side want to have an opportunity to do some interrogation of the bill. So she is actually in consultation with them. If as it were, the NDC side of the transition team have no objection to this bill, Mr. Speaker, I would want to hear from the minister, because she is the sponsor of the bill. So I am yielding to her, because this is the information she gave me, that the new government wants to understand the import of the bill. If the minority leader, the deputy minority leader, has information that his side is okay with the bill, same can be communicated to me so that we would take action on it. Thank you, sir.
Madam Speaker, it's something that we have to check. As we speak right now, we do not have that information from the transition team, but we will check. But while I have the floor, let me say that the Honorable MP for K2 South had brought a statement on the brutalities that occurred in the border constituency, and the minister responsible for Interior, I think Interior, was supposed to come with a response. I think the deadline for that response has not come. I think I'm reminding the leader to try to reach out to the minister so we can get that done tomorrow.
Well.
Mr. Speaker, the application to me through you has been well received, and especially when the language and tone is that of statesmanship. Mr. Speaker, when people are aspiring to be ministers, their postures change. When people begin to aspire to become ministers, the way they talk, their tone, their language, because they know they are going to face vetting. So now they say this and that. Mr. Speaker, we know, because they know they have some ministerial appointment pending, but you are going to be over 170. Only about 20 of you only about 20 of you are going to make it to the ministerial list. The rest of you will be redundant. We wonder what you will get for your constituents, how you would ensure development. Apathy is staring at your faces. Apathy. Apathy is staring at your
Honorable
faces.
Leader.
Mr. Speaker, you can shout. You come to the vetting. I will meet you there. You shout. Start fighting me.
Honorable Leader.
You come for vetting. You. If you won't be calm, start fighting me. Mr. Speaker, you haven't called a deputy minority leader. I'm on the floor. The rule requires that he must catch your eye. And the aspiring majority leader must take it easy. The way he is advertising himself. The way he's advertising himself. I know Honorable MP for Akati South is also aspiring to be a minority leader. And I know Roxin Defiamepo is also aspiring. I know Muntaka is aspiring. Now the man is overtaking you. Every now and then he wants to be a de facto leader. You have your leaders, then you do intervention from behind. Why? You sit down, your leaders are spoken. Mr. Speaker, there's a motion, it's been seconded, just adjourn and let's have peace.
Honorable members, I have information for you. So just resume your seat before I adjourn the House. The information is that tomorrow, God's willing, we will be sitting in our chamber. Tomorrow we'll be sitting in our chamber at 10 o'clock in the forenoon. So the House is accordingly adjourned to tomorrow, 10 o'clock in the forenoon.
I wanted to say that the race for minority leadership